Neptune has a big storm as well, just like the giant red spot on Jupiter. This one's been going on as long as we've been able to see Neptune. And these two planets so far are still fairly close together in the sky. And so if you can see one, you can usually see the other. Uranus you can see with good binoculars. Neptune you definitely need a telescope to see. But they are definite disks when you look at them through a telescope. Uranus has a slightly more aquamarine color, and Neptune is definitely blue, which is why it's named after the god of the sea. Now, Pluto, we don't have good pictures of Pluto. We've never really had a spacecraft out there yet. So this is probably the best quality picture from Hubble that we have of Pluto. I'm putting it next to Earth so you can appreciate how small it actually is. It's even smaller than our own moon. So again, I'm not disappointed Pluto got demoted as a planet, and I'm sure Pluto doesn't care what we call it. But it is a very small thing, and I'll tell you that it's hard to know for sure you're looking at it unless you have a telescope that's got one of those GPS controls like I have, because then it'll tell you there's Pluto. Because you'll never find it, it just looks like the tiniest little speck out there. Now if we move beyond even these planets and dwarf planets, there's other things like comets. Now lots of people have seen comets in their lifetime. This is probably the best comet so far in our lifetime. It's Comet West. Came out in 1976. It was just beautiful. It was very bright, very easy to spot, beautiful classic looking tail. As I said earlier, comets are big, dirty snowballs, and they have very eccentric orbits around the sun, and they come around. I told you about Swift-Tuttle coming around in 1992. The time before that was in 1862. That's when it was first discovered. It only comes around once every 130 years. Halley's Comet every 76 years. So we don't see them very often. But interestingly, just after I came to Barrie in 96, we had Comet Hyakutake, which was quite small actually, but fortunately very close to Earth. So it looked very impressive with a very long tail. Just 1 year later, we had Comet Hale-Bopp, which was farther away but much, much bigger. So it stuck around a while. I enhanced the colors in this picture to show you there's the dust trail from the comet. That's usually what you see with the naked eye. This is the ion trail, and that's being blown away from those solar particles, from that solar wind I referred to earlier. So that's what what comets look like, and it's really neat how they orbit around. Now beyond the solar system, well, we're going to have to start looking at some real deep sky objects out there. These are the Pleiades. This is called an open cluster. It's a bunch of stars all together in one little spot, actually geographically together. And other than the little starburst filter you can see on these stars, this is really what this looks like. There's a lot of nebulosity, which means a lot of gas. These stars are only about 100 million years old, which is pretty young for our stars. They're burning bright, so they're not going to last very long. They'll never manage to have planets. Our star has been around for over 5 billion years. These are only going to burn for a few hundred million. They're going to be gone. But the Pleiades, or the Seven Sisters, they're also known as... I have a trivia question for you. What's the Japanese name for the Pleiades? Anybody know? I know, it sounds like a totally silly question, doesn't it? I'm going to just give you a little aside here. You know, we were talking about sunsets earlier. This is my Subaru Forester. And you know, you don't have to have a Porsche or a Ferrari for a sunset to make a car look really good, I think. You know, it always makes these cars look good. But this is our Subaru Forester, a nice practical mid-size SUV. And there's the little Subaru logo. If you take a good look at the Subaru logo, this is what it looks like. The Pleiades in Japanese are called Subaru. Now, there's lots of other nebulas out there. This one's in Orion. They're usually named after what they look like. What does that look like? Any animals come to mind? This one's called the Horsehead Nebula, and it's out quite far, well beyond our solar system. In fact, in some of the recesses of our own Milky Way galaxy, every one of these little bright dots, these stars, we're peering past to see this little dark dust cloud obscuring part of this bright red nebulous cloud. So they make some pretty neat things. As I said, they're usually named after something. This one, nobody ever guesses this, so I'm not going to ask you.